Okay, I'm making a video. What the hell is going on in Hollywood? I saw 3 separate things, maybe 4. And I'm plugging in to hurry up and talk so my brain's not completely composed. But, Mark Ruffalo is the one I'm thinking about because I'm on Twitter and he's been trending all morning. But also, I've seen videos from Geeks and Gamers or Jeremy, one of the two. And, I think it was Ryan on Arcade Outpost. I'm not sure. But, in the last 24 hours or so, these actors are being forced to do these mea culpas in extreme ways. I don't understand what's happening in Hollywood. We're coming out of lockdown. Things are ramping up again. To some degree, movie productions have been ongoing. Not like they would have been, but, a lot of them were able to keep up. But suddenly, we have a situation where actors are getting their mouths in trouble. Just a sec, I'm going to be right back. I got to do something. So Mark Ruffalo did a tweet about Palestine. Within no time flat, they made him apologize. Now, this is obvious. Okay, I'm Sagittarius, but I have Capricorn rising. I think that makes me a little bit different than the normal Sagittarius, because my Sagittarius brethren, as far as celebrities go, they're awful with the wokeness. We all got to open our mouths and say something, because that's a trait we have. We're always going to say what we think is true. And, so the Mark Ruffalos, the Don Cheetos, the Alyssa Milanos, they can't help it. They can't help it. But they've all been famous and with money for a very long time. They're in that echo chamber. So when they believe there's something wrong, they try to say something. Now, in this case, Mark Ruffalo tweeted something that a lot of people would agree with, especially people who are normally on his side. So when you get the SJWs and the hard left or the Democrats and Hollywood, they're usually uniformly marching along. So in the last 24 hours, not only Mark Ruffalo, but it seems Pedro Pascal as well, have stepped in it over this conflict in Israel and Palestine. Okay? I'm going to go get the the 2 tweets of Mark Ruffalo's to read it. Okay, so I'm going to read what Ruffalo said first. First, he said, over 30 children killed, mothers dead, hundreds injured. We are on the brink of a full-scale war. Sanctions on South Africa help free its black people. It's time for sanctions on Israel to free Palestinians. Join the call. # Gaza under attack. So, I believe this is a link to a sort of like a, what do you call it? Dang it, when you sign the thing and then you send it. I told you my brain doesn't work. A petition of some kind. Okay. So, that's not okay. So he has to come back with another tweet. I have reflected and wanted to apologize for posts during the recent Israel-Hamas fighting that suggested Israel is committing quote-unquote genocide. It's not accurate. It's inflammatory, disrespectful, and is being used to justify anti-Semitism here and abroad. Now is the time to avoid hyperbole. Well, first of all, as I said, me and my Sagittarius brethren, we might as well all have our middle names be hyperbole. But he weren't wrong. The problem is you can't say anything anymore. This man was saying, pretty much putting out a pro-Palestinian tweet. I do not believe that is allowed in Hollywood. Okay? Gal Gadot last week or whatever was being canceled by the fans who are pro-Palestinian for being a Zionist, for making a tweet where she was trying to balance both sides, and she called Palestinians neighbors instead of saying Palestine. And so the fans were trying to cancel her, but of course nothing was happening to her by way of a career. Yesterday, Pedro Pascal, I think he retweeted her tweet, or he tried to sign on to it or say she was great or something. And all of his fans, who are the Gina Carano canceling types, came after him because he needed to read the room because they were all anti-Gal Gadot. This whole thing is a hot mess. What was happening? I guess they did a ceasefire, which I already said I do not understand. But what's been going on over there has shown a really strange dichotomy in woke, liberal, leftist Hollywood. Okay, because if we go back to our friend Gina Carano, she was fired, dumped by her agency, all this other stuff, because some things she said were twisted into being anti-Semitism. Okay, now let's look up the word anti-Semitism, which I did, but I didn't read it yet. So, Merriam-Webster says, the definition of anti-Semitic is relating to or characterized by anti-Semitism, feeling or showing hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a cultural, racial, or ethnic group. Okay, going by that definition, that means in order to be anti-Semitic, you have to be specifically targeting Jewish people. Yeah. So I'm on Twitter, and when they were arguing over Pedro Pascal, they were arguing about what it means to be anti-Semitic because they were arguing about what a Semite is. Okay? So, Encyclopedia Britannica, or Britannica.com, whatever, defines a Semite as member of a people speaking any group of related languages presumably derived from a common language, Semitic. The term came to include Arabs, Akkadians, Canaanites, Hebrews, some Ethiopians, and Aramean tribes. Mesopotamia, the western coast of the Mediterranean, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Horn of Africa have all been proposed as possible sites for the prehistoric origins of Semitic-speaking peoples, but no location has been definitively established. So, all those people are Semites. But in this country, especially, the word anti-Semitic has come to mean specifically anti-Jewish people. Okay? Alright. But the problem is, what they now will twist your words into make them anti-Semitic is insane. So, and that's how people got fired. And when they weren't saying anything anti-Semitic at all. So, most of the time, the SJW crowd would be against anybody who was anti-Semitic, right? So that left the Hollywood woke people, all of them, they're all going to never ever say anything anti-Semitic. If they want to keep their jobs, if they want people to like them, especially the fans who get on Twitter, the Twitter mob, right? Okay. So Mark Ruffalo, but the last week or so has shown that the same Twitter mob, the BTS crowd, the ones who attack you with their hashtags, those kids have been very pro-Palestine and very anti-Zionist, as they call it. So when Gal Gadot started saying things that she was trying to be fair, but it came out as if she was acting like, as they pegged her as a Zionist, being she is Israeli, and she was an Israeli soldier, and she was trying to be fair, but it came across as they thought she was flippant in a way, I guess, by the way she called the Palestinians her neighbors, because that group, the group that goes crazy on Twitter, they are pretty much pro-Palestine. So they attacked her. But again, her career was not in danger because this is just the Twitter mob, the extreme left attacking her. Now, those people want everybody to take a side on every issue. If they have a mentality of, if you're not on our side, you're against us. You're for us or against us. So put your pronouns, do everything we say, or else we're coming for you. So they, like I said, in this controversy, in this news item, that group that comes with their knives out, they are anti-Zionist and pro-Palestine in this issue. So when Pedro Pascal supported Gal Gadot, he basically put himself against the Twitter mob because they are not for her. So in support of her, now they have to cancel him. Meanwhile, he's usually one of their greatest people who says all the right things and said things that seem to oppose what Gina Carano said when those same people were canceling her. So Mark Ruffalo was doing a pro-Palestinian tweet. So he was on their side, the Twitter mob. He works in Hollywood. Hollywood is not allowing any pro-Palestinian stuff. I already told you that Bella Hadid or whatever got dropped from Dior or something. And, you know, at the same time that Gal Gadot was making the people on Twitter angry, Gal Gadot was not being affected career-wise at all. But Bella Hadid was losing a contract or something because she went and marched. And she's pro-Palestinian because I guess she's from there or her family's from there. Okay? So, Mark Ruffalo does this tweet. He's calling out what he sees as what he saw as aggression from Israel that he didn't think was okay. And he has to rethink what he said, and he has to put out an apology. And I really doubt that anybody on Twitter or any fans were calling for that apology. But he had to do it. Again, make it make sense. This is another one of these things that don't make sense. Nothing in this whole conflict makes sense to me. Because like I said, when you boil it all down, you bring it all down, they're all brothers. They come from brothers. They're from, you know. Like I said, Isaac and Ishmael. But you have a situation now where there's this conflict going on. People want to say things. People want to take a stand. Mark Ruffalo said, I believe he said what he thought in the first tweet. Then he had to backtrack. One of the wokest, one who's on the left, one who is a firm Democrat, always spoke his mind during the election cycle, very active, obviously on the correct side in terms of Hollywood normally, except for this. And that goes to show that these people who are running everything, all these actors, they're all marionettes, you know, they're all on strings, you know. Their puppet masters they can't win for losing because even in the case of Pedro Pascal, they think they're saying the right thing. They're not. They can't win because the Hollywood machine, what's really running the show, they have their own agenda, which sometimes lines up with the extreme left of the Democratic wing, but then sometimes it doesn't. So these people aren't really allowed to speak unless they get their directives and they read it like an actor would off the page. If they speak for themselves, they're throwing the dice every time. Are they going to get canceled? Are they going to lose their career or not? But what I think we've all seen in the last couple weeks with this conflict and watching the news and seeing the news media trying to cover it, and just, I think it's testing everyone's, it's really testing everyone's integrity. Because people are saying what they really think. They're looking at the situation and seeing what they really think. And either they're scared to say it, they're afraid to report it, they're trying to squeak it by, or they're getting themselves into trouble. This John Cena thing that the other people had posted about, it's insanely ridiculous. And he said I guess he called Taiwan a country. Now, many years ago, when I used to wait outside the hotel for Duran Duran, I met other Duranis. There was one Durani who I was friends with. Her name was Rhodey, and she was from Taiwan. Back then, now this is the 90s, she told me that Taiwan was its own country. I haven't spoken to her in many, many years. I don't know anybody else who's Taiwanese right now, but I would assume they wanted to stay their own country. But I don't know. I'm not trying to piss off anybody in China. I know that Hong Kong went back to being Chinese because England gave it back. I don't know why it belonged to England. I don't understand any of that crap. It's all World War II and a hot mess, or World War I, who knows. Like I said, before most of us were born, right? All these conflicts, all this nonsense goes back to before we were born. This is my Palo Santo. I can't pick, if I try to pick it up, I'll burn my finger off. That's why I have it on a safety pin to try to use it, the end of it. So, there's no win for losing. Nobody is able to have free thought. These Hollywood elite who have careers, and they should be stable, and they should have enough money in the bank. Something is on them immediately. You need to apologize now. That can't just be their publicist worried about them losing some contract or some deal or something like that. This isn't Me Too anymore. This isn't something you could say, well, justify it like it's morally right or something. This is just like, you said something we don't agree with. You get out there and you apologize now. If John Cena had to apologize in Mandarin because he called Taiwan a country, that means whoever runs John Cena is run by China or is run by entities who are beholden to China in a way that even I, in the videos I've made before and the things I've said before, have not foreseen, because these people are acting like they're being threatened by the mob. They're acting like somebody's threatening their family. They're acting like they have to, you know what I mean? They can't tweet an idea or a thought. They can't say that, can you beat this? They can't say that a country is a country. Okay? You would think I have the window open. I do not. This is why I said there's no peace in here. I mean, that's the thing. It'll go from being completely quiet to all of a sudden ridiculous noise. It's one thing if there's constant noise, because then it's like waves in the ocean. But anyways, so yeah, something's going on. Something big. Something huge. There's another actor I can't talk about where there's stuff going on. And you're just like, the control aspect in Hollywood is the way you kind of believed it was years ago, way back in the olden days where you had those big film studios, and they used to totally control the image of their stars as if people weren't humans. I mean, when I was growing up, nobody did that. People, yeah, there were tabloids and stuff, but nobody was like, okay, we have to totally have a perfect image of this actor or actress, or they have to be this talking head for us, or any of that stuff. And it's kind of scary because these people have money. You would think they could say, you know what, I'm gonna retire from acting. I'm gonna take my money. I'm gonna go live on an island, and sip drinks on the beach for the rest of my life, and my kids will have money and will be happy in the end. But nobody's doing that, and it makes me feel like they can't even do that. If it's that bad, something really wicked is going on, and it's beyond any of the stuff that we've all seen videos about for years or anything like that, because it seems like it's suddenly escalated. There are control entities that are taking over our world. I don't even believe it's from one nation anymore. I'm saying evil. I mean evil. I know that makes me seem screwy, but again, we wouldn't all believe in movies there's a battle between good and evil if it wasn't a real thing. So something bad is happening. We're seeing it play out with celebrities in a very superficial kind of way, like, oh, they're making a statement that's pissing people off, but the degree to which they are not allowed to speak for themselves or even make a faux pas without having to come back immediately with an apology. This doesn't seem like it's about stocks anymore. Like I said, if you have an actor and they're the star of your show, and you're worried that your company is going to lose, people are going to sell the stock in your company because they don't agree with the actor, they think he's a bad man, and therefore you fire them, that's one thing. But when somebody just says a thing, that's not just stocks, it's not just stock prices. There's something really, it has Big Brother vibes, it has Kaiser Sose vibes, it has as if there's some entity saying, no, you can't do shit. You can't say anything. You can't take a step without us approving of it first. And if you do some wrong thing or wrong speak, we are going to immediately rewrite it. We're going to rewrite it. You're going to say it. You're going to apologize. You're going to, you know what I mean? The ministry of truth is, and we all know it, and we're all saying it, and people know. I've seen so many people reference 1984 since I've been doing it. They weren't watching me. I've got like 2 people watching this. But everybody knows. Everybody knows that this is happening. We're seeing it happen, and it's just continuing. You know, it's something decidedly wrong. Again, this 20 minutes again. I'm not going to fix the audio. When they go past about 12 minutes, I'm not going to fix the audio because it takes me hours to fix the video. I take that long for it to process, and then it takes that long for it to upload. So I'm just going to upload it because I'm probably going to come back, because the way things are going right now, these actors are having to come out with retracted statements, you know, every couple hours. So something is really I think, yeah, there's a part 2 to this coming. Sorry. It goes